Yeah, well, flying a float plane is pretty fun. It's a little bit more challenging than landing or taking off from a paved runway, but it's kind of fun. And let's make it a little safer. Welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name is Graham Wilson, and today, in my nice safe basement, I'm going to be talking about seaplanes, float planes. Are they safer? Are they more dangerous? Well, yeah, there's kind of no getting around it. Yeah, they're a little bit more dangerous, but it's kind of fun. So I got my my float rating or seaplane rating. I got that probably. I was thinking about it. It was like almost 20 years ago, and I haven't. My plan was I was going to become a bush pilot, one of those rugged guys with a great big beard hanging out with all the black flies and mosquitoes up north. And then I kind of saw how bush pilots actually worked. And it's like, I'm kind of a city guy. I don't think I can handle that. But oh, hey, Daniel, welcome to the show. And I think I'll start off here with a video. Nice dangerous video, but it kind of has a happy ending. And then we're going to talk about what happened here. So let's get to it. Okay. Well, let's just check out the video and then we'll debrief it. And there's no sound on this. Whoa. What's going on here? Okay. Hey, the app there is in here too. Okay, that happened pretty quick. So, let's take a look at this and we're going to kind of debrief it a little bit. So, what happened here? That the thing just, oh, hey, I'm Rick is here too. Yeah, so what happened? Well, let's see it one more time and then I'm going to stop and then I'll just be quiet here. We will live in our silence with our little plane with a crash, with a happy ending. Oh, there they are. They made it. They survived. Okay, happy ending. There we go. Okay, so what happened with this plane? Now this is an amphib. This and I don't know where I've seen this video for years and years and years. You can see it's from an old VCR tape, and so it's like this is a Cessna 185 with amphibious floats on it. So you can see on the bottom of the little pontoons there. No one calls them pontoons except for non-pilots. The floats there. There's a couple of there's wheels on there too. So those wheels are retractable. They can come back up for if you're landing on water, or you can put the wheels down so that you can land on runway. This guy here, for some reason, he probably forgot forgot the wheels down. Probably took off from some I'll bet you any money he took off from some paved runway somewhere and said he was going to go land on a lake. So he took off, forgot about the wheels down, and he just didn't put them down. Or you never know, there might have been a malfunction. But yeah, here we go. So we're going to kind of stop this. So at this point here, all right, someone's going to go for a flip. And I'll explain why it flips so fast a little bit later, too. Oh, here we go. Everything's looking good. It looks like he's got some flap on there. Yeah, coming in for a totally normal landing. The water is a little bit glassy. That could be a little tricky to judge your height, but still it looks like he's doing okay. Okay, and here we go. Now you can see those wheels that are down there, right about the mid part of the float, and at the front there's a couple little guys, a couple little wheels that are they're castering wheels that go at the front. And yeah, so let's see what happens here. Boom, boom. Okay, so now we got the main wheels are hitting the water. And okay, that's creating an incredible amount of drag. And the thing is, if the water's glassy like this too, even if you have a regular float plane, no wheels, if you ever do land on glassy water, it's kind of like a funny suction cup that just it really stops you. And I guess that's like the plane is breaking the surface tension of the water, and there's a lot of force there stopping the plane. And now the wheel's digging in. Okay, now they just dug in. So now the center of gravity of the airplane, I'm going to get to a little center of gravity diagram after this. It still wants to go forward, but it's getting dragged on the bottom, so you're going to get that cartwheel kind of effect. Oh, and there we go. So right over, and you'll notice something here too, that if this does happen to you, don't panic. I mean, work quickly to get out of the airplane, but the plane won't sink like a stone. And I'll show you here. It does a big splash. I think I'll be able to pause it properly. Okay, so now it just started to bob up here again. So we can see the wheels are up at the top of the floats, and yeah, so right now it's floating upside down on the wings, because the wings on an airplane are hollow, right? So it's just all air in there with aluminum ribs and everything. And if you think about it, like if it's all filled with air, the wing is not going to sink right away. It's going to kind of bob up and down just like it's doing here. And even if for this type of plane, the fuel tanks are also in the wing. And fuel, if you remember, if you're your kid riding around on your bike and you see a great big puddle to go through, but it's got a big oil slick in it and it looks all kind of rainbow colored. Yeah, so gasoline and oil, it floats to the top of water, right? So even if his wings were totally filled with aviation fuel, they would still be lighter and they'd keep them up there. So let's try this again. There we go. Ooh, yeah. So you can see that the tail's kind of up in the air now. But yeah, it's just kind of, and the engine, of course, is heavy in the front, so it's gonna go down a little bit more. And there we go. So they made it out. They're kind of sitting, looks like, on the bottom of the fuselage. And it's still, and then if the floats there, the floats are totally waterproof there, of course, because they're going to be, they're floats, they float. And then, yeah, so there's that. And then it's slowly sinking here. And now we got the plane is totally submerged. You can see the little wheels out in the front where the guy's looking at, oh my gosh, I left my wheels down. And that's what that is. So, that's the end of that video. Oh, was he trying to, did he have a, I wonder if he even had did he have a canoe paddle on there at the end? Let's watch that again. Was he trying to canoe that thing back to the shore? I haven't slowed down and watched it that much. Let's see if he's got a little canoe paddle. I think he does. Oh, well, okay. Well, A for effort. And yeah, well, and actually every float plane does have a canoe paddle. They carry it because if you're on a lake and you run out, your engine stops on you in the middle of the lake, well, you grab your canoe paddle and you do your best to get back to shore. I've never had to do it. I've talked to people that have done it, and they said it's brutal because you're moving a lot of weight there, and it's pretty pretty tiring and nasty. Okay, and you are correct. The plane in the background probably is having second thoughts about taking off. Yep. So where is these? I was in, like, so you're thinking about where's my little training device here? Okay, we'll use the KD-12X Mark II. And so the same thing would happen on a plane like this with the wheels in the front. As soon as you hit that, the center of gravity, we'll say it's like around here in the middle. So you hit that like that, and it's going to want to go over because the center of gravity wants to go straight. So it goes like that, flip, just like this. And I'll show you. So this is where the center of gravity on our little airplane would be. This is a Cessna 172, but they're yeah, you can kind of see where that little red and white, the little red and white circle checkered thing in the middle, that's where the center of gravity is on this particular plane. And there's a range that can be in where the plane can operate safely. So you can see that that is above the wheels. And then if you think about the float planes, they're up even higher than that. So it's going to be more of a tendency to flip over if you go into the water. So same thing with this plane here. If it was going to just land on the water, it would probably hit the main wheels just like that other one did, flip over, but still float on the wings, giving you enough time to get out of the plane, hopefully. And and hopefully you got your May West life preserver on. Okay, so you might be thinking, is like okay, well, if you're landing on land, you can't I guess you could still flip over if you land in the mud or something like that. But here's another cool video that I saw. And so you might be thinking about, if you're in a float plane, can you only, if you have an engine failure or something like that, is it less safe because you can only land in the water? Well, check out this video. Okay. Whoop. Okay. So this is a picture of a guy. He's his engine's actually running, and this is a float plane without any wheels on it. And let's check out this landing. And I don't know if there's any sound on that. Not wearing my headphones. There you go. So you actually can land a plane on grass with even if you just have floats. Now that plane there, I've heard people have done that. If they're going to store it for the end of the season or something like that, they'll fly into a little grass strip. Usually what will happen is they'll land first, very, very first thing in the morning, if there's a lot of heavy dew on the grass, and then that makes it more slippery for the plane to land. And then because it's all there's no wheels, there's nothing really making the plane drag there. Although that guy did do a very good job of keeping the elevator up and keeping the stick back, or the yoke back, and so he did that. Actually, let's watch that again. And I don't know if there's any sound on there. I don't have my headphones on, so hopefully I'm not blasting your ears out. Let's watch that again, and you're going to see it's in the morning. There's probably some dew on the ground, and it's very, very light winds if you check out the windsock. Let's check it out again. All right. Very good. Very good. Cool. Cool. All right. And thanks for the comment there, Phil. Sounds good. Quiet engine noises. Good. Yeah, I just downloaded that like right before going on here. So, is a float plane more dangerous? Well, and you got to think about it too, where you're taking off and landing on water. What's underneath there? Is it like a log floating there you didn't see? The risks there would be just about the same as these guys that are flying in the backcountry out in Alaska, and they go land on riverbeds and sides of mountains and stuff like that. And so that's more dangerous too. But if you ask any of those bush guys up in Alaska, they'll think, "Oh man, that's awesome." And anything that, like, it's kind of like things in life. It's like, life is just kind of like normal, just kind of chugs along. But something a little bit more dangerous can be a little bit more exciting. That's kind of the way it is. Unless you're one of those people that are totally risk averse, and then it's like, ooh, I got the 3% milk instead of the 2% milk today. Living on the edge. Maybe. I don't know what those people do. I kind of like flying and motorcycles and stuff like that. So yeah, so there's that. And so what are my tips there? Okay, so that one plane that did the flip with the leaving the wheels down. Okay, if you're flying one of those, just remember, when you're lined up on final approach to coming in land, you got to ask yourself, where am I landing? Where's my landing gear? Will I write that down on my whiteboard? Nah. But just think about that. You're going to come in and land. All right, where am I landing? And then I kind of like that. I picked that up from just online. That I was in a pilot forum years ago. I remember that. It really stuck into my head because it's not like just a checklist, a rote checklist that you go like blah 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 blah, and you just remember this stuff. And a lot of times when you remember, if you're trying to rememberize, if you're trying to remember something or memorize something to be remembered, it's easy just to say blah 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 blah, and you're just kind of you kind of looking in your airplane. Is that right? Did you really take that information in? So I really like the inquisitive nature of the question. Where am I landing? Okay, I'm landing on water. Where's my gear? And then you check. Oh, my wheels are down. Better fix that. So it's more of a thinking process rather than just a reflex. And so I kind of really like that. That's why I remembered it too. It's like, yeah, that's going to save my bacon one day. Where am I landing? Where's my gear? Easy to remember there. But I mean, there's a lot of times that you'll see the airplanes land and the pilot forgets to put down the landing gear. If they have a retractable gear airplane, happens all the time. People forget. And I wonder too if it was like, uh, when you are going to put your wheels down, like I've flown planes with retractable gear too, and it's usually just kind of part of a checklist where you do, maybe you're on the downwind leg, as they call it, of a circuit or something. You're well before you're going to get to the airport or coming into land, I don't know, a couple miles back or something like that, that you're gonna, okay, you do this, or number one actually is gear down, blah 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 blah, and then you do the rest of the stuff. But sometimes you get distracted. The air traffic controller might say, hey, can you give me a 360 for spacing or something? And you circle around, you forget your gear, and down you go. You land on the belly of the airplane. So it's very easy to have your routine or your checklist or your flow or whatever you want to call it, your memorized checklist in your head. It's easy to get that mixed up. And so if you're just always, yeah, I'm going to go in and land. Where am I landing? Where's my gear? There we go. And then so if you make that part of your routine, part of your habit, that would be helpful if you have a amphibious float plane. So there we go. That's pretty much my one tip for you. And if you walk away with that, and it saves you from splooshing into the water, well, there we go. You can thank me later. You can buy me a beer. Oh, here's another thing too. So that you don't have to buy people beer. One thing that people don't, if you are flying in Ontario here, and I think into Manitoba, it's kind of like this too. Up around these parts, if you're going to be flying your float plane, actually, I'll show you what I mean here. This is going to save you money because you're flying a float plane in, and this is what a float looks like. There we go. So that's what your float looks like. Your water is going to be here. This is the step, as they call it. And you get up on here, and then you start going faster, and then you take off. But over here, when you're in the water, they have what they call water rudders. They are shaped like this, kind of. Okay, so if you're sitting in the water, okay, we'll say I'm going to draw the greatest water ever here. Okay, so there's your waves. We're going to forget about that. And you're floating on your float plane. There's your float plane. And then, so your water rudder is here. Now that if you're taking off or landing, that water rudder should be up. It's got like a series of little cables and pulleys that come back here, and you pull that, and the water rudder will come up out of the water. Let's see if I can do this right. Okay, it'll kind of go like this, and it'll tilt and come up like that. So because if you land in the water like that, it's gonna rip your it could damage your water rudder if it's down. So if the pilot forgets that and lands with the if you're the pilot, or even if okay, this is what you do. If you see a pilot that lands like that with the water rudder down, you walk up to him and you say, "Hey, I saw you land with your water rudders down. You owe me a case of beer now." And the guy will go like, "Oh, someone saw me." And if you're flying and someone walks up to you and says, as soon as you taxi up, they'll be like, "Oh, saw you landed with your water rudder down. Owe me a case of beer." And then you'll go like, "Oh, I'm so stupid." Or something like that. And you will not like someone will be like, "Oh, I forgot." Because that's one of the first things you do is as soon as you land, you put the water rudders down and then you can move around. And if you if you land, you go to put the water rudders down, you go like, "Oh, they're already down." Every pilot's gonna like they won't be able to say, "Oh no, I didn't do that." No, pilots know. So, anyways, there you go. If you're a case of beer, if you land like that, uh, I've heard now it's 50-50 on it. If you're taking off with that, might be able to let it slide, but I think that's kind of depends on what float plane base you're at. But if you're landing with that down, case of beer, too bad, buddy. There you go. Good to know. All right, so yeah, that's about it for the show here today. Where am I landing? Where's my gear? And that works for any amphibious plane, water bombers or anything like that. Okay, so we'll go through we'll see who popped in here today and comments, questions, anything. Here we go. I'm Rick here. Why would anybody get in a float plane? Planes and boats both suck. I'm a land guy. Yes, you are a land guy there, Rick. And if you want to check out Rick's garden channel, I'll give him a shout out here too. So Rick garden. Okay, go to YouTube and check out Rick's garden, and you'll see his lazy dog hanging around in the garden and all the weeds in his garden. So there we go. Yeah, there we go. Leave a comment, like and subscribe, all that other fun stuff. Yeah, maybe he'll show his chickens in one of these videos too. All right. And App Dairy happens to him in the. Oh, I didn't know. Do they actually flip in the simulator? That's pretty cool. Okay. Okay, here we go. What's this here? Wrench popped in late. Okay, Buckminster Fuller designed a teardrop car called the Dymaxion. It was going to be landing, water, air, never put wings on it. Well, you know what? There's probably some guy out there that made some home-built airplane, experimental airplane that's like that, and probably crashed it. But anyways, interesting. There's all these weird ideas that come up in aviation, and you kind of test it and see what's tried and true and not. Okay, that's one thing about if you ever go to the Dayton, Ohio, the U.S. Air Force Museum, all those experimental planes and stuff. When they're done experimenting on them, they just give them to the museum. So there's like a ton of experimental planes that are like weird. You know that car with the like little flying saucer that they made back in the 50s? That's at the museum, and all these other weird looking planes that you're like flying wings and all this other stuff, and very, very interesting experimental aircraft at that museum in Dayton. A must visit if you're a pilot. It's just super cool. All right. I think I might go back again this year. I've been there like 2 years in a row. It's just like, cool. All right. What else we got here? Oh, yes. Let's all go to GOFS, free online flight sim, and fly some float planes. GOFS. I've never heard of that, but that's an idea. Anyways, I'll research that a bit more. Okay, and include the apostrophe for Rick's Garden. Okay, I put a little mark there. Yeah, it's I guess we'll make it official. Rick's Garden. And this one here, I don't know, there's a mark there. Actually, that looks like a semicolon now, but that's actually a dent in the cheap whiteboard, but that's okay. Yep, Rick's Garden. You'll see him hanging out. Okay. All right. And it always seems like the experiment that failed shouldn't be saved. Yep. That's why you experiment, right? Okay, cool. So, okay, today's Wednesday, and so I guess I'll be back on Friday because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern, and I think we'll just kind of shut her down. So, everyone in the chat, thanks for coming in here today. Don't forget to check out Rick's Garden for the finest gardening tips, and yeah, I think he has a Rick's Barbecue too. I'm not sure about that, but anyways. Thanks for coming in, everybody, and thank you for watching. Bye.